Hey Tech Team, this is Pastor Matt. I'm working with the Yamaha TF5 here. Wanted to give you a quick overview of how to use the TF5 as you prepare to come in and run the sound. The TF5 is digital, and so all of it is going to be customized by you and by us to make it what you want. Here's your inputs, and you can see that they are labeled by different names and different numbers. There are input numbers down here, but really the ones you want to focus on are up here. So don't really look at those numbers. They're not going to help you that much. What we have up here is strips with colors and with names. So for instance, here's orange. This is our orange strip, and then it turns into yellow, and then it's going to go to purple, and finally to green and red. Okay, here's what those are used for. And on the old board, we had labels down that said like orange 1. Well, orange 1 is Glenn's keys. Orange 1 wasn't ever used on the old board. Orange 2 is Glenn's keys. Orange 3, 4, and 5 aren't used. So if someone needs a spot to plug in, you can tell them, hey, try orange 3, or try orange 4, or try orange 5. Don't tell them to use orange 6, because there's no such thing as orange 6. It starts with yellow 1, which is Jen and Jess, yellow 1 and yellow 2. And then yellow 3 is not being used. Yellow 4 is used by Dwayne. Yellow 5 and 6 are not being used. And in fact, yellow 5 and 6 don't exist. So there's only yellow 1 through 4. So good time to show you this. Since there's no such thing as yellow 5 and 6, even though on the other board it said yellow 5 and 6, there's not a yellow 5 and 6 back on the stage. So what I want to do is I want to select this channel. I'm going to select it here. Now when I select it, it's going to pull up on this board here, yellow 5. And I want to turn that off. I want to edit it. I'm going to go here, press inside there, and now I want to type inside, and I want to change this to none, because there's nothing in there. For yellow 5 now has been shifted to none. But I want to do it for yellow 6 too. So I go up here, and I press select, and I come back over, get rid of that yellow 6, and type in none. Now you'll notice even when I press select, it didn't go to a different page. It kind of left it here. It makes it really easy for editing things really fast. So if I want to edit this channel, I just press it, and it pulls it up. Or I press another channel. So it makes for really quick editing. Alright, let's go back. Yellow 5 and 6 now say none because they're not used. Here's purple 1. It's not being used. Purple 2 is being used by Glenn's vocals. Purple 3 is the drum overhead, and so on. We got drum hi-hat, 6 and 7 not being used, and drum kick here on purple 8. 1 and 2 of green not being used, and Joe's electric, Joe's acoustic, and then green through 8 not being used. Red is a new color. We didn't have it on the last one. Red means wireless. It's just to help you identify that these are wireless channels without having to write them up here and waste space. So wireless 1 is typically Rachel. Wireless 2 doesn't have a set person typically. And wireless 3, which is now associated to mine. It used to be wireless 5, but just so we got it closer and on the same page, I put it here. And what I mean by same page is, under fader bank, you have input 1 and input 2. Should you want to pull up the rest of the inputs that are available on this board, I'm going to go ahead, and you're going to see my hand press it over here. I'm going to select input 2 and show you what happens. Now it pulls up the rest of the inputs we have, which are our wireless 5, 6, 7, and 8, channels not being used at all by us, and our music channel. You don't need this at all for right now. We don't use those wireless mics, and this music channel does not have to be edited here. The board actually gives us a quick way to turn up and down the music that is attached to this cable. The way that you do that, no matter what page you're on, whether you be on input 1 or 2 or output, which I'll show you later, no matter what you're on, this will change whatever's plugged into that cord right beside the board. So you can turn it down or up. Now I'm going to show you what's happening, and remember, it's not muted. If it's black, it's muted. If it's lit, it's not muted. It's what's called on instead of off. They use gates. So watch what happens when I spin this dial. See the fader going up and down for the music, so you're actually turning the music up and down. You can be on input bank 1, which watch what happens when input bank 1's selected. You can be on input bank 1, come over here, and choose to move the music up and down. And although you don't see it changing, it's still changing that input for you. So that's really convenient and really nice. Easy way to keep the music playing throughout the service by just pressing mute, and then when the service ends, you want music to come back on, just press it and it's there to go. If you have an iPad or anything like that, you can also plug it in here if you like to use that to play music or to control the board. Okay, so now I showed you input 1, I've showed you input 2. Here's what happens when you go to output. Now, we've got inputs on here right now. If you press output, it's going to change everything up. And it's going to label it for you so that you know these are outputs. Now, what you see is aux 1 through 8. Now, notice the aux 1 through 8 don't match up with 9 through 16. Don't look at these numbers. Again, these technically are for input only. But since we label things, you don't need this for really input or output. Instead, you really need this. So we see aux 1 through 8. They are not being used. None of these are being used to modify any sound. Leave aux 1 this way because it actually is being sent to one of our other channels, which is actually sub. You can see it there, 001. But you don't have to know that. That's a kind of a behind-the-scenes technical thing. If you'd like to know how I did that and why I did that, I can go into more detail with you. It's part of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So anyways, it's how you set up the board. Okay, so now here's our outputs. This is really our only space for outputs. Over here you have matrix 1, 2, 3, and 4. We don't use matrix as of yet, so you don't even need matrix. They're off. So here's our only outputs we actually use. Each one of these outputs is connected to what's called an omni. Omni is a way of sending out different signals to the stage, and you can change what they send. Not just sound and not just how they sound, but you can actually change what is sent to them. So for instance, if I want to send the stereo sound to the monitors, the wedges on stage, I have assigned to this omni, I've assigned the monitor, and the monitor only plays what the stereo plays. Now, on this omni, I've assigned the subs, which only play the deep, the bass, low sounds of a couple different instruments that I have selected. We can change that, we can modify it, but the subs are basically assigned only certain instruments to go through them, and they're only assigned the lows of those instruments. They're not going to be hitting highs because you don't use a sub for highs. Now, what about these other inputs? So you understand monitor and sub because you've had those before. These go to all wedges, and it's all sounds. This is only lows, and it's only instruments that we want it to be and that I've selected so far, but we can change. Now, what about these? Tech, singers, band, drummer, Glenn, and Rachel. These are their specific outputs. That means that this doesn't go through the sound system. The people in the church aren't going to hear this. The wedges aren't going to hear these. The only thing and the only people that are going to hear these are the ones that are assigned it. So tech booth, you can select what music you want to hear. If you only want to hear certain people, if you only want to hear to EQ certain things, this is your specific output. But what about the singers? They want to hear something. They don't want to hear maybe every single band member. They only want to hear maybe Glenn's voice louder, since they want to be able to sing harmonies on the melody. So they want to hear kind of Glenn's voice higher than maybe the drums, or higher than maybe the bass, or whatever it is. They can select what they want to hear. So can the band. So can the drummer, because drummers often want to hear maybe the acoustic or the bass, so they can stick on the beat of that. Or let's say the drummer wants metronome and nobody else wants metronome. The drummer can use it. Um, Glenn has his own channel, so he can listen to whatever he wants to listen to. And Rachel will have her own channel so that she can listen to whatever she wants to listen to. So everybody, including drummer, has a little bit of flexibility on what they want to hear. Now the band is typically similar to what they want to hear. Singers are typically similar, and they kind of rotate, so we don't want too much modification there. And then Glenn and Rachel have their opportunity to change what they want to as far as what they hear. So kind of, I guess, try to bring some clarity. Whatever's here is being sent to this person or these people. This is being sent to the monitors. This is being sent to the sub. And of course, your master volume over here, your stereo, is being sent to the house. All right, something to notice here. This is your master slider. It's going to turn up and down the house. When you move it, you can see the sub moves with it. It's a really nice feature. It'd be good to keep that consistent because what that does is that means that, let's say we want to turn up our house, well, the sub's also going to increase with it. We're not just going to get the highs and mids from our Bose speakers, but we're going to get that low bass with it as well. So what if you are leading that day, you're running the sound, and you say, man, I really don't like as much sub, kind of want to turn it down a little bit, which we really do need to keep consistency across the soundboard. But let's just say, for instance, one morning it's just really high, or maybe we don't have any kick drum, we're just using an acoustic set or something like that, and we need to turn down the sub a little bit. Here's what you would do, because you can change it without it just staying stuck to this. Okay, so there's a couple things you can do here. First thing is, what you want to do is you're going to hit select, and once you've hit select, hold it down. And once you've held it down, you watch. I'm moving it, but the master is not changing. And now once you release it, if you change this master slider, it's going to follow it still, but it's going to be set at a different range. So it's lower than the master now. And if you wanted to make it higher, of course, hold down select, move it up or down, and it will go into the same proportion with the master. Now, if you prefer not to have it that way, which I kind of recommend you do because it's a lot easier, it makes it easier on you. But if you prefer not to, and be thinking about this, you're going to have a tablet down on the floor sometimes editing your sound. So on the tablet, you have to swipe over in order to get the sub. You have to swipe back to get to the mains. So there might be that kind of time change there, that lapse in time. Well, let's say you really do want to just change them separately. What you do is you click this home button. Actually, you don't have to click the home button first, but you hit that little tool button up there. That's the settings. Go to, all right, I'm going to remember this. Bus setup. Stereo / sub level link. Click it. Once it's clicked, you go down here and you notice the fader is not attached to the sub. If I click it back, now it is attached again. So there you go. Pretty simple. Hopefully for you guys it's pretty simple. Overview, select input 1, make any modifications you want. This is your mute button. If it's black, it's off. If it's lit up, it's on. Select input 2 if you want to look at the rest of your inputs you have, but you don't really need those, so you don't have to go to input 2. Select output on fader bank here to pull up your outputs. Notice they're all on, including your master. When you want to store this, the main one that we have is on B. It says store to scene memory. Click OK. That's the standard one. Don't change it because it's basic. I've got it set to kind of a basic level. It's what we want. But if you would like to have one of your own presets, you guys talk and get together, y'all can shift them around to use C, D, E, and F. And then you can, like, watch, I'll show you. If I'm going to click D. This is our standard one. I'm going to click D. So it's going to recall it. Okay, so now D's inputs really don't have anything on it. So you can make up your own, whatever you want, save it on here and store it, but don't store over B, because B is set up exactly how we want it, and it takes a long time to do that. So there you go. There's the board. You don't need to use these. No reason to use those. FX, we don't have any FX on right now, and that's the majority of what I think you would need to know about this board. Again, here's your microphone. You can talk to the stage with it. Got our wireless mics here. They both work. All the stage is ready to go for Sunday. And so I hope you guys are able to use this well and control it well. We'll have an iPad set up so that you can do everything that you want to do up here, but you can do it down there. It'll actually change these faders as you change it on the iPad. So you can be down there listening to what the people are actually saying. And yeah, hopefully it will help us as we grow and help the people to focus on what matters, and that's bring glory to God. And so I appreciate you guys, and I hope this helps you out. Thanks.